everyone to a brand new episode of Virtual Coffee. My name is Alexa Collier, and on this podcast, I interview and chat with accomplished and innovative early career professionals and small business owners. With me today is the founder and owner of Raleigh Cheesy, Courtney Bowman. Courtney launched Raleigh Cheesy about a year ago now in October of 2019, and she launched this business as a way to offer beautiful, handcrafted cheese and charcuterie boards to the Raleigh-Durham area here in North Carolina. Her boards are breathtaking, and I'm really excited to dive into her episode, her story, her journey. Now, before we do just that, I'd really appreciate if you could rate and review Virtual Coffee on the Apple Podcasts app. If you do a star rating on the Apple Podcasts app, should take you no more than 5 seconds max. We'd really appreciate that. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. It's at Virtual Coffee Podcast. Now, I hope you are all having a wonderful day and enjoy Courtney's episode of Virtual Coffee. Welcome, Courtney. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Really excited to hear your story. Gosh, I just love all your posts on Instagram and everything you produce. All the boards you create are beautiful and look so good.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So to kick things off, I'd love to hear Raleigh Cheesy's mission in your own words and really where the idea came to create this business.
Yeah, so we're passionate about celebrating life's events with cheese. That's basically the simplest way to put it. We believe that every event, big or small, is worth celebrating, and that cheese is one of the best ways to do that. So we have these boards we create. I say we, it's just me right now. I continually refer to this as a we operation when I'm the only one making them right now. But my husband does own part of the company and he helps with the business side. And then I have a personal assistant as well right now. And we are in the process of hiring more people. So it won't just be me forever, but the collective we is probably just Raleigh Cheesy in general. Love being able to provide a conversation starter at these sort of life events. So it's one of my favorite things about these boards is that they're immediate conversation starters. They immediately are icebreakers wherever they are placed or taken, which I love.
That's excellent. I love the celebrating life's events with cheese because I completely agree with that statement. Cheese is amazing.
Yeah, it's very foundational. I'm learning.
Yes.
It became, people were eliminating a lot of necessities over COVID, and cheese has remained constant. This is what I'm learning, that people still value cheese even in a pandemic. So
that is excellent. I love that. So why cheese? Like, was this a passion of yours before? Was it kind of more of a random idea? Just how did Raleigh Cheesy get started?
Yeah, great question. So, I've always loved cheese. So from the beginning. Since birth, I don't know. I think we could all probably say that too. Mm-hmm. I've always had a passion for really great food. I've always been really curious and very much a learner when it comes to delicious foods, pairings, trying new cuisine. I'm all about going to new local restaurants. It has always been one of my greatest passions. And I've also just, since I can remember, have always been passionate about making things and creating, whether that an actual painting or a delicious recipe. And so this has always felt like the perfect combination of both of them. And obviously this business is not an original idea, right? So people started coming up with these businesses a little over a year ago. It seems like there was a greater boom of them. And my interest was piqued with Nashville Cheese Gal. She's now just called Cheese Gal, but I grew up in Nashville. My mom sent me her Instagram and she was like, I think you should try to make one of these. And I didn't reach out to her. And I was like, hey, will you teach me your ways? I just started studying what she did and really taking into account what kind of ingredients she was using, how she was placing things on the board. And so I made a couple of them last summer for like friends and family, and I loved it. It was more of just like, wow, this is really combining food and art all in one place. And I get to have this creative outlet. And so I was a middle school teacher for 7 years and loved teaching, like absolutely loved teaching, loved the kids. But I was teaching Latin, which is a subject I'm not necessarily passionate about, right? But loved the kids. And I think like all my students are required to take Latin. So I felt like almost it gave me a little advantage that I understood that they didn't really want to be there, but I could make it fun in the same way, right? So I actually like dealt with potentially getting fired because of my lack of passion for the language. And it was actually over a Facebook post I had made that was just talking about that it had been a hard year of teaching because I felt like the kids didn't really care to be there, and it received some backlash and it started going viral. I was not anticipating that. Some people on my administration felt like it was negatively reflecting the school or negatively reflecting me. Through that, though, I had always used writing as a creative outlet, and I felt like I'd really poured my heart out in this post and was being vulnerable, and it felt like it was completely misunderstood. And so from a person who very creatively and uses creativity and making things as sort of a therapy, I felt very creatively stifled and very silenced and numb, and dealt with a lot of panic attacks and anxiety attacks last summer, and just needed, honestly, something to put my hands to. I needed to be making something. I needed to be like creatively fulfilling some sort of place in me. And so out of that place, I started making cheese boards. Like that's kind of the more deeper story of it. I needed it. Mm-hmm. Did need it as a therapy. And so October, I just like was like, hey, I've made 4 of these. I'm going to start an Instagram. That's enough. 4 is enough to build. That's right. And I was not a professional by any means, but I couldn't find anybody in Raleigh who did it. I like kept looking and didn't really see any much of a social media presence out there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing this and just see if people want it. And offline, Raleigh Durham reached out that day, the day I started the Instagram, and they were like, hey, we want to feature you in our email that goes out.
Oh, wow.
They were like, send us your website. And I was like, oh, yeah, I need a website and also a menu. And also I posted literally every picture I have of cheese boards. Like I don't have anything else to post. So I should probably like do a photo shoot. So yeah, it was a whirlwind. Orders started flying in. I was just honestly trying to keep up. And then by the time December rolled around, so I was still teaching, doing this on the side. By the time December rolled around, though, I had made my teacher salary in sales.
Wow.
It was like, okay, this is me doing this part-time, you know. Mm-hmm. This is only 3 months in. What could this be if I was doing it full time and actually doing something I love and something I find really fulfilling, and it's fulfilling this creative side in me, and, you know, what could it be? And my husband and I just sat down and started talking about the potential of it all. And so, yeah, like December rolled around and I was like, hey, it's my last year, you know, I was very much. So now this is my full-time job, and I'm extremely busy, but very, very grateful.
That's such an awesome backstory. And I really appreciate you going a bit deeper on that, the true backstory there, what you were saying with, you know, passion for that subject you were teaching kind of dwindling, you know, being in this awkward situation with the Facebook post. Because I find, you know, through these interviews, there is that the one reason of, yes, cheese is awesome. You're a very creative person, clearly very passionate and want to create and express yourself in various ways. And then there is always that deeper meaning, right? Of whatever situation you were in at the time that led you to this opportunity. And you were a person who took that opportunity, and look what it's become. Yeah, it's incredible. I just really appreciate your honesty there.
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome. And wow, like 3 months already exceeding your teacher salary. That's incredible. Congrats on that success alone.
I will say in sales, not in net revenue or anything.
Okay. Yep.
But you know, but in
still,
sales,
yeah.
But still the potential of it to make my teacher salary in sales in 3 months, doing this on the side of teaching, it just kind of gave a glimpse into what it could be, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And of course, why not go down that path? And now here you are. That's incredible.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd love to dive a bit into the boards you sell, right? The products you sell. I think you might also offer classes. I think I saw on your website. Just kind of walk me through, from for those who are listening who are potential customers, just where should they go? What do they purchase? How do they pick it out? All the logistics behind that.
Right. So right now we offer anything from a tiny little snack box that's $20 all the way up to like large grazing tables. So I know grazing tables are very hit or miss right now with people. We just did one for an outdoor wedding this past weekend that had about 50 people at it. Each guest had their own tongs, no hands were touching the thing. And obviously we don't stay for the service or anything of that, but it was something that the bride booked me for actually a year ago. And she was like, very set that this is what she did. But we do offer like COVID friendly options of having these little snack boxes. We also offer like things in the middle, things that serve about 15 to 20 people. We offer delivery for a fee, or they can be picked up at one of our pickup locations around the triangle. So it feels like a very sketchy cheese drug deal, but I go to parking lots and like have a cooler of cheese boxes.
That's
and
amazing.
Yeah, and people like drive by and they're like, "Hey, you got the cheese?" I got the cheese, man. Like,
Oh, that's awesome.
sketchy, but it's completely fine. So yes, those are all posted on my website. I usually try to post the whole month, like at the beginning of the month, what the pickup dates will be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can order any size at that. And I just basically, you order it, I bring it out to the location. Everybody flocks to my car like piranhas and tells me their name and gets their board. And then we're going to be opening. So we started construction on our storefront, which is really,
wow.
yes. So we're getting a storefront in Apex right off 540. It's honestly like a 25-minute drive from almost everything. I mean, unless you're in Apex, then it's like a 5-minute drive, but it's pretty close to everything right off the Beltline. And we should be open in December. And so that's going to become a regular place where people can place orders more spontaneously. We've had a lot of times where customers want boards same day, and that's not always possible right now. So yeah, this will be a place that where you can come and grab and go boxes. There will be a fridge stocked with them. Or you can say like, hey, I want to pick up a box from 3 to 4 today or from 4 to 5. And that's why we're also in the process of hiring people as well to help run the storefront. But yeah, we're thinking December will be a month of basically just mass producing, especially with holidays and Christmas and New Year's. And then probably like actually opening our doors so you're able to walk in January.
Wow, congrats on the storefront. That's a huge accomplishment. That's really exciting.
It was very great. It's been a whirlwind, honestly.
Yeah.
If you told me a year ago that we were opening a store, I would have probably not believed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did not think it would be possible. We did a Kickstarter campaign in the summer, and it honestly, like, I could get very emotional talking about it because it blows my mind that the community just so much rallied around us and they really want to see this happen. And so we were able to raise $25,000 for the storefront.
Wow.
Nuts. It's nuts. I'm forever indebted to the Raleigh community and even like people from other states too who gave. It's just the amount of gratitude I feel and like unworthiness I feel for all of this is just so extreme.
That's just incredible. And the brand and community you've built over cheese boards. Like that's just so fascinating. It's just really cool to see this community rally behind this business and behind you.
Yeah, it's been great. The loyalty has been probably one of the more mind-blowing things is just like the customers who order time and time and time again and who keep coming back and who recommend their friends and who name drop it literally everywhere they can. Like it's so overwhelming to me and I'm just so grateful.
Yeah. No, for sure. And do you ship anywhere or is it all local to Raleigh right now?
All local to Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill.
Okay.
I don't deliver out to Wake Forest. It's just a little too far for us right now. But the person who cracks, I'm a part of this Facebook group of like cheese and graze board people and stuff. I swear, the person who cracks the ability to ship these boards, oh my gosh, they will make so much money.
Yeah.
Because you gotta like really trust the integrity,
Right.
that it will be there, or it will appear the exact same way that you made it, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Because it's not just keeping the food good, it's also keeping the appearance and the presentation the same. Yeah.
You know, it makes sense that at like Starbucks or, you know, airports or anything like that, you see those like little protein boxes and they've got like crackers and hard boiled eggs and like
Yep.
turkey. And you're like, well, this is probably the only thing that stays good after, like, the shelf life just isn't that long when you're putting fresh fruit that's been cut and, you know, trying to figure out how to sustain a longer shelf life, but it's very difficult.
Yeah. I wonder if, though, staying local, do you feel that's almost a benefit because you can put all your time, resources, energy into one area? Like, do you think that helps build the brand?
Oh, for sure. And I think like our ultimate goal is to become a Raleigh staple. And I love that people are kind of treating us like edible arrangements. So if their friend has a birthday and they're out of town and they aren't able to celebrate their friend's birthday, they're getting a cheese board sent to them. Or if somebody has suffered a death in the family, they're getting a cheese board sent to them. Or, you know, somebody's ordering them for their friend's bachelorette party and they can't be at that bachelorette party. It's almost like a delivery service. It's a little bit of it's just a little bit different than, you know, ordering flowers for someone.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And even if you can't ship them yet, and, just say there's not a solution for that, even just staying local to Raleigh or maybe slowly expanding that physical presence, but becoming, like you said, the staple in Raleigh. If someone in New York has a friend in Raleigh who they want to send a board to, they'll look up, oh, cheese, in Raleigh, and you'll pop up. Like, it doesn't have to be, right, just people ordering from Raleigh. They could order and have it sent to someone or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, we would love to franchise out and expand to
Right.
different places in North Carolina, specifically starting like different places in the Triangle. I'd love for there to be a Raleigh Cheesy Durham, a Raleigh Cheesy
Mhm.
Hill, a Raleigh Cheesy Wake Forest. You know, I think that will come with time. But yeah, I love where it's at right now. And I love the growth we've been seeing. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, nothing wrong with having those, future milestones you want to hit while also focusing on the now and the growth
Right.
now. Yeah,
Right.
excellent. So do you still offer classes?
Oh, yes. We
Oh.
do much smaller classes,
Mhm.
obviously, and socially distance in the class and require mask. And obviously, you're implementing a lot of different protocols during the classes. But yes, I've got some posts on my website. I partner a lot with Joy Worthy Co. She hosts classes in different places around Raleigh and has like just the most creative, fun ideas for classes. And I regularly partner with her. And through that, though, she is like a wine expert. I know nothing about wine. Are always like, what wine should I pair with my cheese board? And I'm like, the wine you have. I don't
The wine in your fridge.
yeah, no, I'm awful at it, but she is an expert. And so when we do our class together, she takes them through wine tastings. She says like, hey, this will pair with this ingredient on your board, or, you know, and it's really great. So that partnership has been amazing. And then I do ones with other people too, but I also offer like in-home private parties for people who might not feel comfortable getting out of their home, but are still comfortable with me coming over. If they just want to get together with like 4 of their friends and we can do a smaller party. Or I have done like virtual parties as well. I actually have one tomorrow afternoon of where we're going to have about 20 people on Zoom, and I send you an ingredient list and walk you through it. And so
That's cool. I love that. Yeah, I was going to ask if you were doing them virtually because, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, people can just pick up the ingredients and attend the class. I think that's awesome. That's a great way to adapt.
yeah, absolutely.
So, would love to know, advice you might have for those wanting to start their own small business or wanting to pursue their own passion. Just what are some of those top pieces of advice that come to mind for other small business owners?
I think one of the biggest things you have to know is how hard it's going to be. I think you have to mentally prepare yourself. I think there's a lot of romanticism and thinking that being an entrepreneur, you know, or being like hardcore mom boss, whatever it is, there's a lot of like romanticism behind that of like, oh my gosh, isn't that the life?
The hustle. Like, the hustle. Yeah.
The hustle so admirable and like, I want to be that kind of woman. It's freaking hard. And you need to know that, and you need to know it's super lonely. Something that is not advertised about entrepreneurship is just how lonely it is. And sure, your Instagram might have so many followers or so many whatever, and you have people recognizing you. That doesn't matter. You need to know that there are going to be moments where you have to say no to hanging out with your friends because you are fulfilling orders. That your personal relationships might suffer for a season. It's basically the equivalent of having a newborn baby. You are trying to maintain all aspects of it. So I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying it's wrong though either. I'm saying if you want to see your business succeed, there's going to be a season, especially at the beginning, where you have to sacrifice a ton. And you have to like give up a lot of things and be willing to do that. Like we're not going home to either of our families for Thanksgiving or Christmas this year. It's not a reality for us because of how busy we're going to be. And we've already told them that. And this is like the first year ever that will happen. And like none of our families live in town. And so that's hard, but we also know this is just a moment. And so as far as like work-life balance goes, I don't know if you have it in the beginning, honestly, and that might not be healthy and that might not be everybody's solution. But for people who are wanting to see their business succeed, for people who are wanting something to happen with it, you have to acknowledge the sacrifice that has to take place and be willing to make those sacrifices. And so my family comes first, obviously. Like my family, my husband and my 3-year-old immediately come first over the business, and they will always take priority over the business. But those outer circles start becoming really small when you're trying to see something take off, and especially in the beginning. I'm so proud of what we've built here. But I think if I had half-assed it and if I had not sacrificed, I don't think it would have been what it is, you know?
Yeah, and I really appreciate your honesty here and transparency and just talking about reality of it, because you're so right. That hustle culture it's all over social media and everything, and it definitely is a thing, but I know exactly what you mean. Like I think most people see the successes of small businesses or the side project, whatever that is, and they see perhaps the other end of it or only the good things about it, right? Like, look how successful it is. Look how many Instagram followers they have. But what's not often talked about is all the work, blood, sweat, and tears, sacrifices that go into that small business. Like you're saying, it's a ton of work, and that's reality.
Right. Absolutely. And I just think there's no get rich quick option here. There's no have success overnight option, right? So while what has happened with Raleigh Cheesy has seemed fast, and I will say like there are things that happened that have taken less work than other side hustles I've had in the past, you know, that have happened more organically because I think we have a good product, you know. That being said, though, it is not and has never been just oh my gosh, and now everything's easy.
Yeah.
Suddenly, and we're just rolling, and everything is just super simple, and we're cranking everything out, and yeah, we have employees, and everybody makes 6 figures a year, and like that's not the reality of it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so even though I would call Raleigh Cheesy a success, this is me putting in 60-hour weeks, and my husband working 3rd shift right now, so us like barely seeing each other, and praise the Lord for daycare right now.
Yeah.
You know, we would not vacation without daycare. It's just, there's been a lot of things that we've had to give up. You know, I have the 5-year goal in mind of like, I am going to be able to take vacations when I'm not the only person running this business. And when it's a cheese empire, you know, we'll be able to own a house, right? I'm like, we live in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhome that we rent right now. Like, that's not necessarily the dream, but you know, we're working towards it. And the sacrifices we're making now are for the betterment of the business and of our family in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, completely agree on your whole perspective on this. And yeah, I think that time, you know, if that's the goal to have other employees, and perhaps you're more of the like CEO type figure where you're just kind of managing the overall operations, right? Not necessarily the day to day. If that's what you want, that's definitely possible. But the work that needs to go into getting there is where you're at now, and that work can be hard and challenging. And yeah, that's what I think people don't talk about often on social media. And I wish they did more. And I just, yeah, love, again, I keep saying this, but I just love your honesty and transparency. I think it's so important for those who are listening who might want to start their own business. Like, hey, it will be hard. It is worth it. It is, you're living your perhaps dream, you're pursuing your passion. And those are all amazing, wonderful things. But here's also the reality behind it, which is also just as important.
I love working for myself, honestly. I love making my own schedule. I love the flexibility I have to pick up my daughter from daycare and take her in the morning. Like, I love that. And those are things I wasn't able to do for like 2 years, you know, since she's been born. There was a lot of like, I felt like I was missing out on stuff in her life. And I love that I'm able to be at her school events, you know, get to see them. And that's so fun. And the ultimate goal is like Christina Tosi. If you know who Christina Tosi is, she's the founder of Milk Bar. Fantastic, like ice cream, cake, like sweets shop. And girlfriend is just hardcore, but like she hustled hard in the beginning. And now it's like she obviously keeps creating, but she's not in the store every day making things, you know? So I'm like, that's the ultimate goal. You keep creating, you keep making, but you're not necessarily the one cranking out all the cakes every day.
Yeah, you're the vision and the root of the passion.
Right.
Yeah, but you're not necessarily doing that day-to-day work there. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. So I kind of a different topic I wanted to talk to you about is your mini bachelor series you have going on in your Instagram. I just wanted to just know, like, how did that come about? Like, that is just so cool. And I feel like that's such a unique way to drive attention to even just your Instagram page, right? And then they're like, who the heck is Courtney? What the heck's Raleigh Cheesy? Let me check out the business. That's just, it's just so smart. And you don't seem like a, you know, calculated person where like, oh, let me do this so I gain growth. I'm sure it was very natural, but just wanted to hear about it from you.
Yeah. It was not intentional. Like, I'm like, oh, wow, this was a great unintentional marketing strategy. Right. I had no intention of like, no, there was no pre-calculation going into this at all. I love matchmaking in general. I would say I've been responsible for about 3 marriages at this point, which I consider pretty good, of just having those people in the back of my head and being like, hey, you guys would work out. And so it started with like, I like to post engaging content. I'm all about engaging with my followers. I also don't know how to be anything other than myself, which is a pro and a con sometimes. Like, I am a big Hamilton fan, so I'm very much more Hamilton than Burr. I don't know how to talk less, smile more thing.
Yeah.
That does not make sense in my head. I can't do it. I've tried many times to talk less, smile more. I fail dramatically. So I've always been the face behind Raleigh Cheesy. I'm always showing my face on my stories. I don't always have makeup on. I don't always look great, but I want people to know that there's a real person behind this, and, you know, and to see them behind the scenes. So I posted something like, "Oh, I love Trader Joe's. Like, drop your favorite Trader Joe's employee and I'll like give them a shout out or whatever." And so somebody put that one of the Trader Joe's employees was single if he was looking. And I was like, I love this because my followers are 91% women. Like, I have access to so many single women right now. Let's post about single guys. So I posted him and then I was like, hey, if there are other single guys out there, if you know of anybody who wants to be posted, like, let me know. And so one guy reached out and was like, yeah, you could post me. And so I like gave him this little shout out, and then 3 more came in. And then 2 weeks later, we had 35 bachelors. And
Oh
so
my gosh.
I just kept posting them, and I was like, ladies, just slide into their DMs, if you're interested, like, this is how it works. So some have like are in relationships with women now because
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
crazy, because like some girl like slid into their DMs. I'm obsessed with. I love that. And then, but it took a lot of energy is the thing. Here's the reality of that. Man, it took so much energy to sift through these guys, to record a little blurb about them. And that's not my full-time job.
Right.
The cheese is the full-time job. And so I loved that everybody loved it, and like that people were sending their friends to my page, because like that was not intentional. I did not expect it to blow up. But the reality of it is it just took way too much energy and time that I have right now. But we are doing a speed dating night. Joy Worthyco and I are doing a speed dating night on the 24th. And we have 9 bachelors and 9 bachelorettes picked. And so they will get to do like an activity with each of them. And it should be a good time.
That's cool.
Everybody's like, I hope you do another one. And I'm like, you have no idea. Like, we finally got the 9 bachelorettes picked yesterday. We had 15 men apply and 110 women.
Wow. My gosh.
It took so long to go through those 110 women.
Yeah. You're like hosting auditions, right? That's crazy.
It took so long. So we had to get the guys nailed down first. And then a lot of the guys were like, oh, I'm going out of town that weekend after all. Never mind. And so I'm like, well, now we're just basically picking girls for the guys available. And anyways, we will probably never do another night of this. It's such a success, but it took way too much time, way too much energy. I hope someone finds love. I hope all 9 of them get married to the other 9, at this rate, because
No, that's funny. And yeah, I mean, going back to our earlier conversation, right? It's like on the outside, from a viewer, it's like, oh, Courtney's posting like these cool stories, like, oh, that's a cool thing, this Bachelor series. But the reality is you need to put in the work to do that, like finding the bachelors, finding the bachelorettes, like setting up the time or whatever, the information, etc. Like, there's so much more work behind the scenes in anything than what's being shown.
Yeah, there really is. I need to like actually make boards and like do that.
I need to run my business.
Right. I need to like actually, like do some real marketing of like my boards, because Halloween is coming up,
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh. Well, thank you for indulging me on that. I just
You're
had to bring it up with you.
You need to know though, number one thing was that it was not a marketing scheme in the beginning.
Yes. No, I assumed that, like, just based on your personality and even chatting with you here, like, I was like, yeah, I doubt she made that calculated decision on creating a Bachelor series.
No, I did not. I got 1,000 new followers in a week, which
There you go.
This is so laughable, because all people want is cheese and single men, apparently. Give the people what they want, I guess. I need to start posing single men with the cheese now, I guess.
Yes, that's your next photo shoot.
Oh my God. There's a calendar idea we're going to set.
Wow, that would be awesome. There you go. Do it. Oh, it's so funny. Well, my last big question here for you, Courtney, is, and I always end my episodes with this, is in this moment, right now, what is your proudest accomplishment? Now, the answer can be Raleigh Cheesy, or it does not have to be related to your business whatsoever. Just first thing that comes to mind, what's your proudest accomplishment?
Honestly, it is Raleigh Cheesy. I feel like I've worked really hard and I'm really proud of the brand we've created and really proud of the product we offer. And I'm just proud of the growth that we've tried to sustain. And there was a moment that switched where I think all throughout teaching, I was never really taken seriously and never given really any leadership roles. I felt like I tried to insert myself into places to get those roles or to try to volunteer for more things. And I think because I'm an emotional person, I'm an extroverted person, I'm pretty bubbly, a lot of the times those people are not considered leaders. And I am so passionate about people realizing that emotional women can be business women as well, that emotions are not bad. And being a real, authentic, vulnerable person does not make you a bad business person. I feel like I've made really smart business decisions. I feel like I have treated my business seriously while also maintaining the integrity of who I am as a vulnerable, emotional woman, if that makes sense. And I'm all about finding the nuance of those two things. That I'm so sick of people saying that emotional women can't lead and emotional women can't run a business well. And that's just not true. And emotions are not always a deficit.
Right.
And they're not a weakness. And there is a way for me to be a vulnerable person and also be a boss bitch, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it felt like I had to create a job that proved otherwise, that the world does take me seriously and I'm still myself and I don't have to compromise any part of my personality or stifle any part of my personality in order to run my business well.
Yeah. And you're clearly succeeding in that. I mean, even just chatting with you for a little over 45 minutes today and following you on Instagram, it's just so clear. Like you just have such a great personality. You're humble, funny, outgoing, while also confident in yourself and the business, and can run a successful business mainly on your own, with support from family and a few others, of course. But look at what you've created while maintaining true to yourself and true to that inner why, like that inner what drives you. You have not strayed away from that, it seems. And I think that's just, yeah, an incredible accomplishment in and of itself.
Thank you. I really
Uh,
appreciate that a lot.
yeah, no, you're welcome. Yeah, it's just excellent. Yeah, I've just really enjoyed our conversation today. You're such a wonderful person to chat with.
Oh, you too. I really enjoyed this a lot. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you. Well, before we sign off here, where can people find you and Raleigh Cheesy? Social medias, website, shout them all out.
Yeah, so raleighcheesy.com. Everything is just Raleigh Cheesy. raleighcheesy.com, at Raleigh Cheesy. Facebook, it's Raleigh Cheesy. If you just Google the words Raleigh Cheesy, we take up the whole first page of Google.
Nice.
Act like we worked super hard on that SEO. There's another thing that it's like, hey, we have not paid for any SEO. Like, we have not done any of that. I have just tried it multiple times and I have Googled Raleigh charcuterie. We're like one of the first things that pops up. If you Google Raleigh cheese boards, we're one of the first things that pops up. We take up like the whole first page of Google with almost every search. So maybe that's really my proudest accomplishment is because I feel like a lot of people work really hard for that kind of SEO, and that was very unintentional that we
Yeah.
so way to go. Yes.
Yeah.
Accomplishment. Not knowing anything about SEO and that happening. So yeah, if you just Google, it should appear. It's like really cheesy, but Raleigh cheesy.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much again for chatting with me today. Really looking forward to your storefront. I mean, I'm here in Clayton, North Carolina. So I'll definitely be checking that out and visiting you over there. And again, congratulations on just all your success having such a great product as well, and just having such an awesome mission. Really looking forward to seeing where Raleigh Cheesy goes in the future.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you, Courtney. Thanks for chatting with me today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, awesome.